Welcome to Donuts with a Sprinkle of Social Media, the podcast for all small business owners.
I'm your host, Sean Moat, and with 15 years experience in digital marketing, I've got a passion for small businesses and social media. Each week we'll speak to a business owner, find out about their business and their struggles with social media. So let's dive into this week's episode.
Hello everyone and welcome to Donuts with a Sprinkle of Social Media. I can't believe this is episode 7 and I have got Alan Watts. He is from truck engineer to love engineer. See, Alan, I've been checking out your website before we started. Hello Alan, how are you today?
I'm very good, thank you. You can always tell when there's a stalker around.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was very interested to see that you started as a farmer and then went from truck engineer to love engineer. So let's start with there. Let's tell us the story behind how you become the love engineer.
Yeah. Well, from the farming side to the truck engineering side was an easy one. My family farm was sold by the family when I was 13, so I didn't have a lot of choice in the matter. So my dad had gone into the road transport business, and I used to go out with him every weekend to where they repaired the trucks and whatnot, and found I enjoyed it and had a bit of an eye for what was going on. So ended up getting an apprenticeship and going down that road, which was great for a few years.
And what made you become the love engineer?
Well, it's kind of a interesting story in a way, because you could say my dating career was a little on the disastrous side, having little to no self-confidence, little to no self-worth or anything like that. And girls to me were a completely different breed, and they didn't make any logical sense whatsoever. Didn't understand them, didn't know how to talk to them, so I didn't get on very well. And then I had a few relationships, and then several broken hearts, and then got to that point where one hurt a lot more than most of the others. And I thought, well, I can't do this anymore. So I decided to run away as far as I could. So I went around Australia for a year and found a lot of the problems I had over here were over there too, because I took myself with me. And then came back. In some ways you could say a changed man, and there was part of me that felt I was ready to settle down. And also at that time this internet dating thing has just started to rear its head. So I thought that was fantastic, because I could let a girl get to know me a little bit before they actually meet me, kind of thing. And then by the time they met me, I think they really like me. Well, it doesn't always work out that way, but so within 12 months of coming back from Australia, I bought a house and met somebody and was almost engaged by that point as well. So within 2 years of getting back from Australia, I owned a house and I was married. What I didn't know at that time was there was such a thing as a narcissist, and that the woman I was married to just happened to tick all the boxes. So
I guess that was
rather eventful marriage, you could say. And then it nearly came to a head in, I think it was about 2009. And then, without going into too many details, she kind of gave me a bit of an ultimatum of this rather nasty thing or this rather nasty thing. It's like, well, which of the nasty things is best? So I went for the one with more certainty. And then in 2010, we had 2 kids, and then that was they were born in May, and in November I came home to an empty house. So then found myself in a place where I had to rebuild my life. And then in the process of that, that journey included getting on into some groups on Facebook with people that were also single and dedicated to personal development and that kind of thing. And after a while, people came messaging me, asking me for advice and what's my perspective. And so, what the hell are you asking me for? A bit later on, they'll be saying, are you a coach? No, you should be. look through the social media friends list and says coach, 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 coach. So there's no point in that. Then it was about a year or so later than that point, had a couple of personal experiences where I thought, some coaching skills might be rather useful here. And they might help me as a parent as well. So reached out to Tony and Nikki at Master Coach and said, can I jump on the training? And surprisingly, they said yes. And found I really enjoyed it, dabbled with it in the evenings and weekends, and then went full-time in lockdown when my job disappeared.
Yeah. So an interesting transition, and I think, we've spoken on many occasions how, things that have happened have brought you to where you are, and are able to help your audience. So who is your ideal audience? And is there a particular stage in their relationship that you cater for?
Well, there's lots of stages I cater for, and lots of quite a wide range of audiences, but they generally sort of fit into the two categories of one, they're single or divorced, and are frustrated with this modern swipe culture of swipe left for a Muppet, swipe right for a moron, whatever it is on their preferred app, or the couples that are frustrated with each other. And occasionally the couples that are in a good place and would like to stay that way.
Yeah. And you talk about, the digital age, and the introduction of online dating apps. Do you think that's had a big impact in relationships, good or bad?
Absolutely, as has social media. Because when I think back to when I was in the dating phase the first time around, before these dating things, the only chance you've got to meet a young lady would be through one of your friends from a local club, from school, something like that. But it's very localised, unless maybe you met somebody on holiday or something like that. But that was it. And then these days you can meet somebody from anywhere in the world and almost sort of go through an Amazon checklist of, I want this feature, this feature, this feature, and look at what's left.
Yeah,
certainly a different world.
Yeah, it is a different world, and at my age, I got divorced in my early 40s, and was introduced to online dating. And I was very lucky. I've met the love of my life, Kay, on Tinder, and I've got 6 wonderful stepchildren. But it's that first initial going on to the dating app, isn't it? That can be quite scary for people.
Yeah. What pictures do I use, and what do I put in this box here? And it's very, very daunting.
Yeah. And is that something that you can help clients with that are struggling with building that, getting that right profile?
I certainly can do, because ultimately the profile has a few different functions, a little bit like a business advertisement, in that it wants to attract your ideal partner or ideal client, whichever it may be, and it wants to also repel the 90% that are definitely not a fit or a match.
Yeah, so definitely, this whole, like you say, swipe left, swipe right, and the whole shopping list of, of what you're looking for, is very interesting. What are some of the common relationship challenges that your clients face, and how do you address them?
Well, when they come to me, it's always something external. It might be, can you fix my husband? Can you fix my wife? Why am I only attracting Muppets, or whatever the thing may be? But the thing we often overlook as human beings is we take ourselves to every single relationship we go to. It's easier to change ourselves or improve ourselves than to get someone else to change. Because I don't know about you, but when somebody tells me that I need to change to fit their criteria, it doesn't go down very well.
No, definitely not. And you also are a avid podcast. I think, did you say before we started this, episode 45 you're on?
Yeah, I've got 45. Got three left in this series, so I think 42 is going live on Thursday. So
Yeah. And do you want to plug that podcast while you might as well plug it while we're talking about it?
we certainly can do. It's called Relationship Revolutions, and you can find it on just about every platform that has podcasts. It's on video in YouTube and Spotify, and audio everywhere else.
Yeah. And I think, I've so again, I talk about this on nearly every episode, Circle Networks, and this is where I met Alan about 4 months ago, and Alan's been a great help to me in starting my podcast. Just the tips and advice on how to get started. But I absolutely love doing podcasts now, and getting to interview different people and find out about their business is brilliant. So what's your podcast about, Alan? And for anyone who's thinking of looking for it,
it's pretty much anything and everything that affects relationships. Be it what have we had on there? We've had neurodiversity. We've had a lady talking about BDSM style relationships. We've had other relationship coaches where we dig into the masculine and feminine energies and the polarity between the two, differences between men's minds and women's minds, relationships to food and how that can affect your relationships, and you name it, we'll cover it.
Yeah, it sounds like really covers a wide range, and I'd urge any listeners to tune in to Alan's podcast. And obviously your website, I will shove that up on the screen for those who are watching, the loveengineer.rocks. I love it. Loveengineer.rocks. For anyone who's wanting to check out Alan's website for more information. And I noticed on your website, it's not all about, like you say, it's not all about single men, single women. You actually help couples as well, don't you?
I do.
And, obviously I was married for 20 odd years before I got divorced. So I wonder, how does a partner keep that spark alive after years together?
That is always the question, isn't it? And there are many, many different theories all over the internet, some of which say, to keep your partner, you've got to keep doing the things you did in the early days, whilst there's some elements of truth in that. Along that time, you are going to grow into different people. So what you do and how you show up is going to change. But ultimately, keep showing up as the most authentic version of yourself, keep the communication alive, and really understand your partner.
Yes,
because the more you know them, the more you can read them, the more you can kill these arguments when it's a little baby instead of waiting till Godzilla's taken over the house.
Yeah. I think, and I identified through my divorce that my biggest problem is I don't deal with conflict. I would be the one who sits there and just listens but doesn't answer. Yeah. So I think sometimes you have to learn from things that go wrong, don't you? And
yes,
put it and move forward. So obviously helping young people who are single, who have gone through breakups and heartaches. So how would you help someone who has just gone through some, the heartaches of breaking up with someone, to help them move forward and into that next step of finding their next true love?
Ultimately, there's three phases of my work, whether it's a single person or a married person or in a couple. The first stage is healing the emotional attachment to whatever has been going on, whether it's from this relationship or whether it's an accumulation of previous relationships, even stuff that goes back to childhood and before. Once those things are healed, you're in a better place to attract the right kind of relationship. So attraction is phase 2. And if you think back to the good old days before Sky TV and everything, where you had to turn that dial to change the channel. If you're tuned into BBC One, but the programme you want is on ITV, you're never going to find it unless you turn that dial up. And it's very much the same with the emotional attraction. If you're on the inside, even if it's unconsciously somewhere down by hate and fear, you're not going to attract love. You've got to turn that dial up so those vibrations match. And then once you've gone through the attraction phase, then the third phase, which is actually the most scary one, which is commitment. Because you get called to become that best version of yourself. And there's also that fear of, will I be good enough? What if they do this? What if they do that? And then you look at how you respond to those things. And when you find that connection, a lot of the time, it can be quite scary. So it's very easy to just, okay, I'm going to be better off on my own. I'll just run over here and hide kind of thing. Unless you've got someone in your corner calling you to account, actually saying, well, actually, this is what you want and what you need. So why are you running away? Let's dig into that.
And do you help your clients after they've found love, or is that, or do you tend to stop?
I'm always there for support, because a lot of the time it's once you found that person and start meshing those two lives together where a lot of the challenges start to come out after that lovely honeymoon phase where they can't do anything wrong and I can't do anything wrong for them either. Then over time it will naturally, the things that aren't quite so yummy, they start to rear their heads and think, why are they like that now? They've never been like that before. Well, yeah, they have. You just haven't noticed because it's not been a big deal, because you've had all these chemicals floating around in your brain and your body that just feels amazing.
Yeah. So, as we said at the start, I have been stalking you, Alan, before the podcast, because I do like to try and find out as much as I can. And I noticed that you are also an author of Running Wild and Running Free.
I am indeed.
Book. Do you want to tell us, what's that's all about?
That's predominantly, it's a mixture of a memoir and a bit of a personal development book. And it's sort of, in a way, you could also call it the making of a love engineer kind of thing. All those juicy bits about the marriage that I had, well, the bits I can put in there without being sued anyway, because there's a lot more that's not in there.
I can imagine, yes.
that comes with a beer or two.
Yeah. You can tell me about all the juicy bits at Circle Live.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so when I was writing it, my writing coach says, oh, make sure you include all the juicy bits. We really want to get people's attention. So, are you sure? She says, yes. So I said, shared those kind of things with her. Oh, we can't print that. Let's go back to the original then.
Yeah. So I see that that's available in paperback and on in digital as well, isn't it, Alan? So
it is, yeah.
Anyone wanting that, jump onto Alan's website. And I noticed that you also, you've got your clarity calls as well, haven't you? So anyone who's looking to get in touch with you, jump on your website to book a call. And I suppose that's a bit like, it's a bit like me. I suppose there's got to be a connection, haven't there? With me and my clients, there has to be a connection. So I think that's where that clarity call comes in, isn't it, Alan?
Well, that's it. I've got to make sure that firstly, I can help them, and secondly, they're willing to do the work.
Yeah.
In some ways, I'm kind of like a personal trainer for their intimate lives, so to speak. And just like going to the gym, the trainer can show you how to work the treadmill, show you where it all goes, but you've got to get on the damn thing and run.
So onto social media, because as everyone knows, that's my baby. social media. How do you find social media with your business, Alan?
I kind of have a love-hate relationship with it. I love that I can connect with anyone, anywhere, and very easily lose a day looking at videos of tigers and cats and guitars and all sorts of stuff like that, and the odd Labrador thrown into mix. But then I hate the fact I can lose a day looking at those videos. You go onto any platform and think, right, I'll just post this, and then all of a sudden it can be 2-3 hours later. It's like, what am I doing? I was going to post that post. I haven't even written it yet. Why have I not posted it?
Yeah, I must admit, I'll admit, I was on TikTok before you joined, and I'm glad you messaged me before to say that you're just getting your brew and you'll be with me, because I was watching a Stegosaurus being sold at Sotheby's for £40 million on TikTok, and I'm thinking I'm not even interested in dinosaurs, but for some reason it got me hooked.
It's amazing how it gets you, isn't it?
Yeah. So social media, it does play a big part. And obviously, AI is brilliant. The future of AI, I use ChatGPT quite a lot for not content creation, but more about
AI for me is very exciting, but also very, very scary. Because if you imagine, if we look back at these dating profiles, how easy is it to write your dating profile on ChatGPT? And how easy is it to filter and Photoshop and whatever your photos to make yourself look like this brilliant person, ideal date for pretty much anybody. And if you got two people doing the same thing, and then you put them in the same room, which one's going to be the first to say, well, who the hell are you?
Yeah. So AI is a big thing, and I guess you would not recommend people using AI to create their dating profile.
I'm not going to say don't do it, but I would say be very mindful of how you do it. Because yes, we want to put our best selves across, but at the same time, we also want to put our authentic selves across. And just like you go through LinkedIn or Facebook, you can spot a lot of the posts that are written by AI. It's only a matter of time before you can spot the profiles that are written by AI. And then the private messages that follow.
Yeah, it is very scary. I when you talk about like dating profiles and profile pictures, I messed around with AI for some imagery of myself, and it's some of it is quite comical, and some of it's quite scary. How spot on it can be. But I think you're right. You can clearly see that it's an AI photograph. So yeah. And with your own social media, what challenges do you face? Promoting your business, your podcast, your book, etc.
Well, there's a couple of things there. Firstly, with building a podcast, you might have noticed it yourself. It's almost like trying to build two businesses at the same time. And then I think one of the biggest challenges I find with it is to keep in front of people. You've got to work with the algorithm. And because they want people to stay on that site, whichever one it is, you have got to engage with other people's stuff. Otherwise, they don't show you to anybody. That's a bit of frustrating. Because I think, I really don't want to be on social media for 3 hours engaging with other people's stuff just so that they can show me mine. If AI can do that for me, that would be fantastic.
Yeah. I think eventually it will. And I think, in my line of work, you do hear of people going, oh, AI is going to take all our jobs. I don't think it is. I think at the moment, they still make mistakes. I explain AI, and this is quite funny with you being on, Alan. AI, a husband with his wife, that he might not know the truth or the right information, but he'll still want to give the information to his wife just to please her. And obviously AI has these hallucinations that if it can't find the facts, it will still want to please you by giving you something. So it's not always right.
Yes,
So yeah.
because that wife always has more questions than he has answers.
Yeah. So yeah, no. So yeah, it is hard, and it is a full time. Social media can be a full time job, and it has its challenges, doesn't it? When you're trying to run your own business as an individual. One of the things that I think has helped me over the last few months is finding Circle Networks, and I do like to give it a plug on every episode. And that's obviously where I met Alan and all of my last guests. Circle Networks is an amazing networking organisation. It's really helped my business grow across the UK. What's your thoughts, Alan? Because you've been in it longer than me.
Yeah, I've been there just over a year, and I would say from all the networking I've done as the Love Engineer, I've probably got more genuine connections through Circle Networks than any other organisation. Ultimately, it's about friendship fueling business, isn't it?
Yeah,
Whereas
and I think
all the others, it's like, let me pitch at you.
Yeah, and I think it's probably the only network organisation that I've been involved with their tagline is 100% true. Friendship fuels business.
Yeah.
We all meet. We all meet each other at least once a week somewhere, or every couple of weeks, depending on each other's schedules. But you do build friendship, and I think having that connection and building relationships with each other is brilliant. And I find, and I'm sure you find the same within your line of work, that there is other people within Circle that do what you do, but having that friendship, being able to pick up the phone or DM them, I've got this problem in my business, what would you do?
Yes, it's like being in business for yourself, but you're not by yourself. You've got that team behind you. You can have those water cooler moments, whether it's one of the live events, whether it's a Slack group, WhatsApp, or just pick up the phone, whatever it may be. You've got somebody who can run ideas off, and they might say, that's a great idea. And they might also say, well, what the hell are you thinking about that for?
Yeah, no, and it's, Helen Goad, the other day, she's been so supportive of me. We were in a breakout room, and we were talking away to someone new, and their name's completely gone now who it was. But she was going, Sean, don't forget your podcast and don't forget about this. I said, you're almost my publicist. But it is, isn't it? It's that having that connection, that friend, that supportive network around each other, especially when we're solo business owners.
Even more so when we're working from home, working digitally, you don't see anybody.
Yeah.
Human beings need connection. The last 4 years have proven that. But we won't go into that rabbit hole.
Yeah. And also you get to find out a bit about people. Like, if you see behind Alan's shoulder, there's electric guitar. And in Circle Networks, you get to do presentations. And the presentation that I'll never forget is Alan with his electric guitar talking about learning chords and notes and how that all joins up and everything. That was probably one of the memorable 7-minute presentations that I've heard since I've been in.
Thank you.
But yeah, you get to find out little nuggets of information, and you really do build friendships. So I'm looking forward to the 23rd of September, getting down to Birmingham and meeting everyone face to face. Because
I'm kind of hoping you'll be there on the 22nd.
Oh, is it the 22nd? Is it?
Well, it's on the 23rd, but I'm going up on the Sunday evening, so I don't have to get up.
Sorry, yes, I will
quite
be there
so early on Monday.
I went, oh shit, have I booked the wrong? You panicked me there, Alan. I thought, oh fuck, I've booked the wrong Oh shit! I'll have to put the Splitic on the end of this podcast now. Yeah, I thought I'd booked the wrong date. No, I am coming down on the Sunday. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Circle Live because at the moment, Alan could be 6 foot tall or 4 foot high. I ain't got a clue because all I've ever seen is his shoulders and head. So yeah, it's looking good.
Believe it or not, I do have legs.
I've not seen anyone's legs, so it's going to be an interesting one. So yeah, no, and anyone who wants to find out more about Circle Networks, drop me or Alan, and we'll both be happy to talk to you about why you should invest 90 minutes, even if just once a week. 90 minutes can build real good friendships. Anything else you want to tell me about you, the Love Engineer, Alan? Or anything that you've got happening?
Well, I will have another book coming out later this year. I'm in two minds as to the title. It could either be called Winning the Game of Love, or it could also be Love Stuck, because, let's face it, most of my clients are in a position where they are stuck in the world of love.
So, answers on the back of a postcard. But yeah, no, they both sound good. Yeah, yeah. Don't forget to put a stamped addressed envelope in the back of it for your prize to be sent. That's just us showing our ages now, Alan, isn't it? So yeah, so a new book coming out. That sounds brilliant. And yeah, Love Struck. Yeah, I quite like that one, Alan. That's quite a good title. And what days do your podcasts drop?
They drop on a Thursday at 10:30 UK time.
Okay, so everyone needs to get on and listen to Alan's podcast. Don't forget to
when is this episode like to be going live? It's this Friday, isn't it?
This is going out this Friday, yeah. Because I'm on a tight schedule this week, Alan. Thanks to the joys of
the one that goes live the Thursday after this one goes live will be another Circle Networks member, if I just put my teeth back in, which is Paul McGowan.
Oh, that'll be an interesting one. And he, for anyone who doesn't know, is the money man.
He is indeed.
Financial expert.
Guru.
And that's the other good thing about network, isn't it? There's so many people with so much expertise. It's brilliant. So yeah, Alan, it's been great speaking to you. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Lucky number 7. If you've got any superstitions, lucky number 7 episode. I know Jamie said he wanted to be episode 1 because he says everyone listens to the first episode. So Jamie Stewart from Circle Networks was episode 1. Can't believe when I'm on episode 7, and I've got a host of other Circle members lined up over the coming weeks.
I had Jamie on my podcast a few weeks ago. It went live, I think it was about 5 or 6 weeks after we recorded it. He couldn't remember what he said, and he's been too scared to listen to it. Just in case he said something he shouldn't about his ex-wife or something.
Yeah, the good thing is this will be out on Friday, so you won't be able to forget what you've said, Alan. Unless you're like me, unless you're like me, who's got a bit of dementia set in. So I'll forget what I've done this morning. I just have the odd craft moment. So again, just before we finish up, there's Alan's website, theloveengineer.rocks. Head over to there, book a clarity call with him, buy his book, listen to his blog. He's not got t-shirts available yet, but you never know. Alan, thanks very much for joining us.
If you want to pay me for a t-shirt, I will happily send you one.
And you never know, you could get Mel from Circle Networks to embroider it for you. That's brilliant. Thanks very much for joining us, Alan. And I look forward to speaking to you soon. Thanks very much.
No worries.